we are finishing off integers today, which means that we're going to recap everything that we've done so far. So I'm starting now with our actual lesson, so you can start getting your notes and stuff ready. And as we start to practice this stuff, there's just a couple things that I want us to remember about integers before we get going, because otherwise we're going to start making some silly mistakes and we don't want that. So the first thing I want you to remember is what an integer actually is. Now, for me, visualizing it on a number line is always really helpful. It might not be helpful for you, but essentially an integer is all of our positive and negative whole numbers. And throughout this course, I've constantly said to you that when you're doing adding or subtracting with integers, and you're finding it a little bit tricky, or you're struggling a little bit to add or subtract your integers, draw a number line for yourself. It is so helpful to just make sure that you are adding and subtracting correctly. It is a little bit time consuming, but obviously your number line doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a rough sketch of what a number line should look like with the numbers so that you can use it. But essentially our integers are all our positive and negative whole numbers. And so if you imagine it on the number line, that's what you're going to get all the way up to infinity and all the way down to negative infinity. The next thing that we need to remember is what happens when we start using the operations multiplication and division. So when we multiply with integers, let's break it up. We need to bear in mind our signs potentially or can possibly change. So when I've got a positive times a positive, my answer is going to remain positive. There's no negatives to throw things off there, so it stays positive. A positive times a negative, or even the other way around, a negative times a positive. So if you've got two different signs, your answer will be a negative. And finally, when you are saying a negative times a negative, our answer is going to be positive. Now, these very same rules apply when we divide. So when we divide, the same thing happens in that a positive divided by a positive is still a positive divided by a negative, or even a negative divided by a positive will still create a negative answer, and a negative divided by a negative is equal to a positive. And we need to remember these sign changes or these effects of the signs when we start to do our operations. So I'm just going to stay here in case you want to take a screenshot of that, but then we're going to start looking at some examples to get ready to start doing some questions.
If you guys get screenshots, sorry, it's a
yeah. But make sure you've got screenshots. I'm about to move. Okay, so let's have a look at our first example here. Example A. I'm going to do this one with you just so we are all clear on what's happening. And then I'll ask you to try some by yourself. Problem my throat. So there's a couple things we need to remember what Yolanda's already told us. When we are doing any sort of calculation, we need to remember bodmas or bedmas or pedmas or whatever you want to remember. You need to remember order of work. The other thing that we want to remember is signs, numbers, variables. Now, obviously, we haven't dealt with variables yet. When we get to algebra, that will become important. But what you need to take away from this is deal with your signs and then deal with the multiplication or the division of your numbers. So if we have a look at our first expression that I've given you there, the first thing I want you to remember is that whenever you've got a number right next to a bracket and there's nothing in between them, we need to remember that the operation we are dealing with is a times. So this is actually saying -2 times -3. And that's important to know because obviously when we start doing bodmas, we need to know where the multiplications are. So here I've got a multiplication. I also have a multiplication in my numerator. So let's start with those. A negative times a negative, so if I just do this here, -2 times -3. Negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 3 is 6. So automatically, I know that this product is positive 6. I don't have to put the plus in front because it's my very first term. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And now we're going to move on to our fraction. So in our fraction, we've got a negative 6 times 2 in our numerator. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 6 times 2 is 12. So this means I've got a fraction plus negative 12 over negative 3. So I've dealt with the multiplication. I'm now going to deal with the division. Now remember, the division rules with our signs is the same as multiplication. So a negative 12 divided by a negative 3, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And so what we actually have here when we simplify is 6 plus 4. You don't have to write a double plus because plus is plus. We don't have to stress about that. But now we can do our final step of addition to give us our final answer of 10. So very importantly, we need to be remembering our bodmas. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to make this a touch smaller, and I want you guys to try for me example B. Remember your bodmas, remember your signs. Sorry. Remember not to rush it either. You do it step by step, do it one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything together. Go step by step, and I want from you an answer for B. For now, just put it in the chat. I will tell you when I want hands for answers.
Let's go, my people. Yeah, amazing. Remember, write it down on your book first. Buyanik, lower that hand down. Since we have to follow instructions, remember? So it's not commute for hands. So you can lower your hands down. Okay. So just press the button that you pressed. There we go. Well done. Well done. You're doing really well. Let's go, my people. We are all doing B, okay? And we are practicing. You're labeling it and you're saying B equals 2, okay? That's how you're going to give this answer. Let's go, my people. Y'all are doing really, really well. Let's go. Put your answer on the chat.
Signs. Yeah, put your answers on the chat. Remember your signs. And guys, I will ask for hands. So when I say hands, you can then put them up, but don't rush. Don't jump the boats just yet. I don't think that's the expression, but anyways, we will get to hands. But I haven't seen any answers yet on the chat, so I'm waiting to see some answers.
Yeah, let's go, my people. I see Elisha. Elisha, I hope you've worked at B. I hope you are seeing what's on the screen, right? Elisha, you are doing number B, okay? There we go, girl. I saw you nodding. That's right. Well done. Goodness, okay, looks like you are done with B. Sorry, do you want to give your answer on the chats? Goodness, put your answer on the chats for B. What did you get for B? No, do not raise your hand. No one is raising their hands yet. So there we go. Thank you. Renee, I see you. Yes, sorry, yes.
No. So guys, if you are struggling a little bit with B, start with what I've put in red there. So start, because remember, we want to always start with the multiplication. So start by multiplying those values over there and then start to simplify if you're struggling a little bit. I'll give you a hint. Your answer should be a fraction. So everyone just jumping on the negative 18 bandwagon. It's part of it, but it's not the whole answer. Your answer should be a fraction here.
Yes, my people, because we are looking at the whole of B. We're not looking at the top. We are looking at the whole of B. Okay, my people, be careful of your signs. We are looking at the whole of B. Be careful of your signs. Remember, SNV stands for figure out what sign you have to do, figure out the numbers. That's what we are doing, okay? I see you, Renee. Brown, you have to work it out first on your book, and then you can write it down on the chat so that we can see your answer. And then, yeah, you should be able to explain how you got to your answer, okay? But for now, just put your answers on the chat after writing it down on your book. I see you, Onkarabile. We recognize you. You're working hard, okay? I can see you. Yes, you. Definitely, I did not make a mistake. Onkarabile, I'm talking to you. I can see your face. Let's work, guys. Keep them going. We are 100 of us here. So we want to know every one of you putting the answers down. Definitely. Let's do it. Y'all are doing a great job. Teacher Sam will tell us now to stop anytime soon. So y'all keep writing the answers
I'm actually
down.
going to say stop because I haven't seen any correct answers and it is a little bit of a tricky one. So
Okay.
I think let's go through it so that we're all happy. So
Okay.
guys, I told you to start with what I sort of highlighted here in red. So start with a multiplication. Now it's a -3 times a -3 times a -2. Don't try to do it all at once. Let's go step by step. So -3 times -3. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we've got a +9. Then we still need to multiply that by a -2. A positive times a negative is a negative. So my answer is negative. And 9 times 2 is 18. So that's where that -18 that some of you were putting down is, but that's not our final answer. Because what we have now is 5 minus 18 all over, let me try that line again, all over 4 minus 6. Now, guys, when we've got those two minuses right next to each other, what we're actually dealing with is a plus, because remember, we know a negative times a negative is a positive. So what I actually have in my denominator is 4 plus 6.
Sorry to just...
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry to cut you. I just want to tell them, because I see my people, please focus. Now we said that everyone must stop and we are focusing, right, on what Teacher Sam is explaining now. Like this, Teacher Sam doesn't have to explain again because you are busy writing answers on the chat, okay? So let's pay attention on what Teacher Sam is about to tell us, because that's how the question should be done, okay, my people? Let's do this. Well done, guys. Let's focus on Teacher Sam. Sorry, Teacher Sam, to disturb you.
No. But guys, what Yolanda said is perfectly true. I've explained this now. So if you weren't listening, then unfortunately, you're going to have to go and watch the recording. All right, I won't be doing it multiple times. Okay, so we've done our multiplication. We've seen that in the denominator, we've got a minus and a minus, so it's actually a plus. And now we can start adding or subtracting. So in my numerator, 5 minus 18 gives me a negative 13. And again, remember, use your number line for these situations if you're struggling. And in my denominator, 4 plus 6 is 10. Now, I can't simplify that because there's no number that divides into both 13 and 10 without a remainder. So that is my final answer. However, I know some of you like to write your answers as mixed numbers. So this could be written as -1 and 3/10. I personally don't like mixed numbers, but there's also nothing wrong with the mixed number. I have a personal issue with it. That's my issue to deal with. You could also write it as a decimal if you felt that way, of -1,3. I also don't like decimals. Again, personal issue I have with decimals. So you can write it if you want to. I personally prefer an improper fraction, but all three of those formats of the answer are correct. Right, so take your screenshot.
Guys, so you're taking your screenshot now, and I hope all of you understood this example, because it's important for all of us to understand, right? I'm glad, Elisha, that you're enjoying it. Well done. Sorry. So guys, remember, if you did get lost, Teacher Sam is allowing you to ask questions, okay, on this specific, yes. But you must actually just say you lost at this step. You cannot say, oh, I don't understand anything. Okay, my people, let's go, guys. Well done.
Yes, guys, sorry, I did actually mean to say, if you have any questions, please raise your hands now. I then just didn't say it. All right, Sanele, question? Sanele, you need to unmute yourself. There should be a pop-up that you need to push to unmute. There we go. Sanele, we still can't hear you. You might need to log out and log back in, or you might need to check what your audio setting is so that we can hear you. I'll come back to you, see if you can figure it out. Simpiwe, question? Okay. Buyanek, question?
Ma'am, can you zoom it smaller? I can't see B.
So like that. Is that small
Yes,
enough?
ma'am.
Okay. Tulakele, question?
Hey, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that, is there a difference between the negative number over a negative number and the number over a number, then a negative sign next to the division line?
Okay, so I'm hoping I followed all of that. Basically, you're asking me, is there a difference between negative divided by negative and a negative in front of a fraction like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the first example, if you've got a negative number divided by a negative number, this goes back to our rules where a negative divided by a negative is actually a positive. However, when there is just one single negative in front of the fraction, that actually means that the whole fraction is negative. But what we will often do is we will often put the negative in our numerator so that we remember we are dividing a negative by a positive denominator, because a negative divided by a positive gives us that negative. So there is a difference between the two. And so we just need to remember that if there's two negatives that becomes positive, if there's only one negative, then we're dealing with a negative.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, good. Sorry, I clicked unmute again. You can just ignore me. Kopano, question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand step 4. I don't understand quietly.
Okay, there is no step 4. So which step? Step 1 or step 2?
The step where you take that number to a fraction.
So from here to here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we need to do is we now need to simplify what's happening in the numerator and in the denominator. So I start with 5 minus 18, which gives me negative 13. And then in the denominator, I've got 4 plus 6, which gives me 10. So that's where I get my answer from. So I'm just adding the things in my numerator and my denominator.
Thank you.
Perfect. Right, Elithle, question? And while Elithle is unmuting, sorry, Elithle, Tulani, I saw your question in your in the chat. There is no step 4. I'm hoping that my explanation now has resolved the issue, because I did just explain how we got to our answer. Right, Elithle, what is your question?
I wanted to ask that when are we busy with X and Y sums?
Okay, so Yolanda did answer that in the chat. And guys, please can we stay focused on what we're doing? We will do X and Y sums, so we'll do algebra after fractions, as I put over here. There,
Okay.
it is.
Cool.
So didn't clear question? Oh, no, okay. Before your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if like the brackets mean that you have to multiply, right?
Yes.
So, ma'am, why did you skip the 5?
Okay, so
No, ma'am.
so the 5, I didn't.
Sorry, I muted everyone to just Sam. If you can just unmute, because I don't know who was talking.
Yes, I heard that as well. Okay, so basically this 5 is separate from all of these, because what I can see is, and I'm just going to zoom this in again, it's a little bit small. What I can see is that I've got a -3 times a -3 times a -2. This is a completely separate term to this multiplication. So the 5 stays there by itself until we're ready to do the subtraction. Okay, so it's very important that we are clear on when we're adding or subtracting and when we're multiplying or dividing. And I know that this is the case because there was no brackets around here. So if this had said bracket 5, bracket -3, then I'm saying that it's multiplication. But because there were no brackets between those answers, it is 2 separate terms that I'm dealing with here. Okay, so Didintle, I'm hoping that makes sense. If not, please feel free to ask another question on the chat. Simpiwe, question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I do not understand the equation on B. I do not understand it is 5 minus -3 and the brackets and -3. I do not understand, ma'am, how we are doing it.
Okay, but I've just explained it. Guys, I really need you to listen. We're wasting time re-explaining stuff. So 5 stays where it is. And then we've got -3 times -3 times -2. So we do that multiplication first to get -18. And then we can do the subtraction. Okay. So we need to break it up into bodmas so that we can go and simplify.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, now I want to remind everyone, if you feel that this class is too fast for you, please do let us know so that we can potentially change you to the earlier class where it's a little bit slower. Okay, but guys, again, I really need everyone to listen to questions. I need everyone to listen to me when I'm explaining things. And your questions need to remain focused on what we're talking about. I don't want any questions about what's coming up. Can you help me with this section that is nothing to do with integers? We're focusing on integers right now, and that's that. Right, I'm assuming everyone's taking their screenshots because I've been here for a while, so we're going to take our brain break now. For those of you that are new, brain break is just a little break from the maths that we're doing. It might be like a little puzzle like this is, it might be a problem solving type of question, but we take a little break from what we're doing before we carry on, just so that we can give our minds a break before we start to do, I don't want to say the real math, but the math that our lesson is focused on. So what we're going to try here is, I'm not going to help you at all with our brain break. I want you to try it by yourself. So this is your brain break. What you're wanting to do is you want to work out what the mango, the apple, and the blueberries are worth, so that you can work out what the final expression's answer is. So give it a try and see if you can get an answer for me.
Let's go, my people. Y'all can do this, okay? So guys, basically a brain break, like Teacher Sam has explained, it's just something that to just jog your brain a little bit, okay? So please do stretch out, because I see that most of you are now like a little bit tense. So Blessing, if you can just jump around instead of like, yes, Blessing Kosi, I'm talking to you. So just get up, get out of bed and just jump around, okay? Vuyanik, please put the answer if you have the answer on the chat, okay? If you have any answer on the chat, you can put it on the chat if you have the answer, okay? Guys, everyone who's raising their hands right now, put your hands down, because it's not time for hand aids, okay, my people? So if you don't understand, it's okay. This is just something that will definitely help you. Just check on the charts. Your fellow students are really helping you. They're even telling you that mango equals to what. All that we want is the final answer. Okay, my people. So Didintle and ML Kuluse, lower your hands down. Okay. Thank you, my people. Yalla, awesome people. So we'll definitely tell you when we see an answer. As soon as I know what the answer is, I will see it on the chart and then I will.
Yeah, no, it's just a little bit gross. I'm just trying to have a think here.
Okay, cool. So guys, let's go, okay? Let's go. So you can calculate one by one. You can try and figure it out what a mango is, I don't know what that is, the blue thing. But yeah, like
Blueberries.
geniuses. Blueberries. There we go. Blueberries. Okay, my people.
Okay, guys, change that 21 to an 18 and it'll just be much nicer to work with.
Okay, so guys, you raise your answers. Now we're starting. Didn't I think I lowered your hand down. So please don't raise your hand unless if we ask for your hands to be raised up. Okay, because I've already lowered your hand down. So
guys,
guys, raise.
keep it at 21. Sorry, I'm just losing my mind a little bit. It's already been way too long there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Revise. This is what we need to do. Okay. So we have a brain break day. Remember, stretch. I need you to stretch. Get out of bed, get out of that chair, stretch it all out, okay? Bashe, I see you. I hope that you've already stretched. I see you, Bashe. I see you. Stretch, guys, please stretch, and then you can start working, okay? For those of you who don't understand what's going on here, please do not worry. It's just a brain break, okay? It's something that needs to jog your memory out of whatever that we're doing. It's a distraction, guys. While you at it, did you read the joke? What do you call a group of dudes who love maths? Algebras. I hope I have my algebras in here, okay? So that's something that you can actually start a conversation with, okay, at school. You can definitely take a screenshot of that and you'll be communicating with your friends at school, okay? So please do that. So we already have an answer that I know. Whoa, wait. So I will let you know if anyone has the correct answer, I'll definitely let you know. So we're looking for a final answer. It's not 21, it's not 48. Let's go. I'll definitely tell you if you get it right. Okay, it's not 31.
And guys, just like, so the reason I said I was losing my mind is because I didn't look at the pictures properly. And I'm just going to say it now to help a little bit. There's 2 mangoes here, whereas there's only 1 mango in the step. So just bear in mind that sometimes there's 2 and sometimes there's only 1. Same with the blueberry here and same with the apples here. So just be careful because that was the mistake I made. So don't make the same mistake.
Come on, guys, with the clues, now we're supposed to get the correct answer. None of those answers are right. It's not 150, it's not 98, it's not 24. I'm not gonna tell you, that's a good clue. So we're not gonna give you those hints. You need to figure it out. Let's go, my people. We have another minute and then we're gonna take this brain break to a next level. Next time when we see you. So let's go. Come on, guys, we can do this. No, not 36, not 80.
Remember, guys, if you're confused about anything, put it on the chat and we'll help you.
No, it's not 22. No. I haven't received the correct answer yet. Nope. Keep calculating. Oh, someone. No, that was just close. Wait. That was just close.
Close, but no cigar.
That was just close. Where? I saw someone with an answer.
Simpiwe.
Uratile. Wait, was it Simpiwe first?
I thought I saw Simpiwe first. I could be very wrong. Let's just see.
I think I saw Uratile first. Who's the winner?
Oh, yes, or Tilwe.
Well done. Well done. Unatila, do you want to quickly raise your hand and explain to us how you got it? Quickly, before we move on to our maths things. We don't have time. Where's Uratile? There we go.
There we go.
Tell
Okay,
us.
explain it for us.
Ma'am, the last one, ma'am, I said there's 2 blueberries there. So I said it's 4 plus 4, it's 8. Then I said plus the mango, which is 6, times the 2 apples, which is 10, equals to, yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, at the start, 3 groups of mangoes must give us 36. So each of these are 12, which means that 1 mango is 6. And so if we now say 5 times 6, because remember bodmas, we get 30, and then plus 6, we get 36. We now know an apple is 5, so this apple is 5, which means if I say 21 minus 5, I get 16, which is why Ortue said it's the blueberries are 4 and 4. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 5, 21. Now there's 2 sets of blueberries, that's now 8. 1 mango we know is 6. 2 apples we know is 10. And we do bodmas again, so 6 times 10 first, which is 60, plus 8 gives me my final answer of 68. Very, very nicely done.
Well done, guys. Thank you guys for the effort. Y'all did well. I'm glad that you soldiered on. Okay. So well done, guys. Well done.
Okay, very
Here we
nice. So guys, again, not something you need to stress about, just something fun to do, take a little break. But now we are going to carry on with our bodmas. So let's have a look at C. I'm going to do C with you because we struggled a little bit with B. And let's hopefully try and focus and make sure that we're understanding what's going on. So if we go and have a look at C, again, we want to multiply firstly our multiplication and division. Now, this is quite similar to the question we had earlier. This 5 minus, they are separate from each other. So we're not saying 5 times minus 3. This is a separate term to the rest. So my multiplication is actually over here. We are saying minus 3 times minus 2 times 4. That is the multiplication I need to do. So when I start my multiplication, I'm going to start by saying negative 3 times negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 3 is 6. I still need to multiply that with the 4, and we know that 6 times 4 is 24. So now I've got my expression of, what's happening here, of 5. Remember, we've done all of the multiplication and we've got a positive 24 as our answer. So plus 24 divided by 6. So now I need to go and deal with my division because of bodmas. Okay, when I do my division, 24 divided by 6, positive divided by a positive. So I get a positive answer, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. So I've got 5 plus 4. And we know that 5 plus 4 is 9. So you need to be doing those operations correctly, and some of us aren't listening. So yeah, I said right at the start, this 5 is a separate term. We are not saying 5 times negative 3. That is not what this is saying. It is saying 5 minus whatever all of those things together multiplied are, and then divided by 6. It is a separate term, so it needs to stay separate. That is why my 5 just stayed here until the final step, because I only do the addition right at the end. Right, so if anyone has a question at this point, now is the time to raise your hand whilst you are taking screenshots. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next question. So if you have questions, raise your hand. Didn't clear question? Oh, sorry, I muted you. Sorry, unmute yourself again. There we go.
Ma'am,
I was wondering, how do you screenshot, ma'am, on a computer?
Okay, so on a computer, you might need to say print screen and then just copy that into like a Word document or something.
But I can't see print screen, ma'am.
It should be at the top of your laptop. It's like a small little button, and it says PRTSC.
It's fine, ma'am. I'll look for it, ma'am.
Otherwise,
if you can't-
just use your sorry, Giselle.
No, yeah,
Otherwise,
we're
just
gonna say
take
the
your
same thing.
phone. Oh, yeah, take the phone, okay, and just take screenshots of your laptop. So whatever you see on your screen on the thing, take a photo of it using your phone. Okay, I hope you got the message.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Okay, Tolakele, question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
so ma'am, does it mean that whenever there's like a number, let's say it's a number plus a number and then there's a bracket, then you know the sum, we're gonna first start by multiplying the number after the number, the first number,
Exactly.
yeah.
So exactly. So if it's something like this plus is separating that 5. It's saying keep away, wait, it's separate. So we first deal with the multiplication and then we will deal with the 5 at the end.
So we start after the sign that is before the bracket.
Exactly.
Wow.
Rotondwa, I hope I'm muted myself. That's cool. Rotondwa, question? Are you there? It says, oh no, okay. Zintle, question?
Ma'am, I'm asking for the previous question, right? It is 5 minus 3, then brackets -3. Yes, and
Yeah.
also on question C, it says 5 minus 3 brackets -2, then it continues like that. So how did the 5, like after the 5 became like 5 plus, but then on question B, it was 5 minus?
Okay, good question. So the reason in B it became minus is because of what I was multiplying. If you look in this blue block up here, I had a negative times a negative, which gave me a positive 9. But then I times it by another negative, which means that my answer became negative. However, in question C, my multiplication was a negative times a negative. Let me just get a different color. So a negative times a negative, which gave me a positive 6. But then I was timesing by a positive. So my answer stayed positive, which is why I've got a plus sign there. In B, because it was a negative, I needed to have a negative sign over there. Does that make sense? It just was because of what I was multiplying.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Pleasure. Right, and guys, that question is why signs are so important. We need to be careful of our signs.
Hello.
Wonder Wonke, guys, please remember to mute yourselves when you have finished answering your question. Wonder Wonke?
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am, I have a question about basically everything, but I understand. But I'm just asking, is it possible for the sum to be division, like at the top?
Can you give me an example? Like you can just make it up just so that I can see what you mean.
Ma'am, like I'm saying for C, it's 5 minus 3 and then -2 and 4 divided by 6. So let's say it's like that, but then now the 3 then the multiply is divided. Is that possible?
So something like, let's say, for example, 5 minus 3 times 2 divided by 6. plus
ma'am.
1 divided, no.
No,
So
ma'am.
where do you want the division? Where must the division go?
Ma'am, by -3, then by the x, then it's the division sign.
So division
So,
minus
sorry.
2 times 4 divided by 6, like that.
Yes, ma'am, like that.
Oh, yes, that's absolutely fine. We can put a division somewhere in the middle. It doesn't have to be at the end. That is fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you, ma'am.
And then we just need to be careful about body mass. Okay. Good, guys. I hope you've all taken screenshots. If not, I'm going to wait for 2 seconds and then I'm going to move on to D, which I want you to try by yourselves.
Well done, guys. Unkarabile, remember that you didn't specify which part, and teacher Sam is gonna move on. So you must specify so we can help you.
Yeah, guys, remember when you put questions in on the chat, be specific about what's confusing you, because then I can answer you quickly. But if you just say I'm stuck, I unfortunately can't do much. So be specific about what's troubling you, and then I can help you quick steps. Right, let's try D. The thing I want you to remember in D is this negative situation. We had an example like that. Did we have an example like that? Yeah, in B, the negative, we've already discussed. So go back to your answer for B and see what we said. So just be careful there of that negative sign. But I want you to try D for me and put your answers on the chat. And we'll have a look in a minute or two. Ashley and friend are working so hard. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing really well. Jabulo has a look of complete focus.
Nice, nice, my people. Goodness, Gumed there. I don't see you writing. Are you writing with a pen and a paper? You must write down. You won't be able to speak to me, but I can speak to you. So I need you holding a pen and you are writing. You are writing on your book. We are doing number D.
And guys,
you won't be
remember,
able to speak. Don't worry. I'm looking at your face, so you won't be able to speak to us. Just concentrate on number D. Try it out on the paper. I want you sitting down and trying out this question, because I'll ask you an answer and I'll be like, hey, goodness, we need an answer.
guys, be careful of your signs. Just take very careful note of the signs in your working out.
Let's go, my people. Elihle Mugel. I'm not sure where we are going, but definitely we're going to D. So that's what we need to do. We must go to D and make sure that D is done and dusted. Hey, Elihle? Yes, girl. Now you get me. Yeah.
She's getting her brain powered up. Movement is powering the brain. Alrighty, guys. If anyone wants to raise their hand to try and explain for me question D. Oh, nice. Shana, would you like to help me with D?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello.
Negative, open brackets, -1, and then close brackets, open brackets, -2, close brackets, plus -12 over 20 over 4, and then it will give you -2 plus 12 -12 over 4.
Okay.
And then you're going to say -12 divided by 4 minus 2.
Okay, yeah. What is negative 12 divided by 4?
And then it's -3 minus 2, and your answer would be -5.
Perfect. Okay, so there's a couple of things I just want to chat about there, just that we're all on the same page. Firstly, the -2, where did that come from? That came from this multiplication up here. So remember I said to you that negative, negative right next to each other is actually a positive. So what we have is 1 times -2. A positive times a negative is a negative, 1 times 2. So that is where the -2 came from over there. The next thing is we need to deal with the division. When we are dividing, a -12 divided by a +4, negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that's where we're getting this -3 from. Not English, -3 from. Now, what Shana did was 3 and the -2. That's fine as long as you remember the sign. So as long as you remember it is a -2 and a -3. It makes no difference what order you then write it in. So if you said -3 minus 2, you will get exactly the same answer. You will still get -5. Just remember the correct sign. And so -2 minus another 3 gave me my answer of negative. All right, so screenshots here. And Karabile, if you can tell me exactly where you're lost on C, I can help you, but I don't really, I explained C quite a few times, so we need to sort of make sure where we're struggling with C. So if you tell me exactly where you're struggling, I will be able to help.
And also you're allowed to rewatch the lesson. Hey, on Karabile. If you don't get it in the lesson in between, you are really allowed to go and rewatch. But most of the things, I'm sure you'll be sorted.
Right, guys, I haven't asked for any hands yet, so listening to instructions, we're clearly not doing very well today. Specifically, I see your question, is this correct? But I don't see anything that you want me to check, so just remember to put it there. Specifically, I'm not too sure where you're getting the +3 from. 1 times -2 is -2 plus 3. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting the +3 from. That's not making sense to me. So just double check that. Right, very quickly for C, although I am somewhat upset by this, but anyways. Right, I'm explaining C. So listen, otherwise you're losing out. For C, we are multiplying what I've highlighted in yellow. That is the multiplication. So we first do the C. We first do the multiplication, which is what is shown here. Negative times negative is positive. 3 times 2 is 6. And then the 6 times the 4, whoopsie, 6 times the 4 gives me the positive 24. So that's why I've then got plus 24 in the next step, because that plus 24 came from my multiplication. I then need to do the division, divided by 6. So 24 divided by 6, positive divided by a positive is a positive. 24 divided by 6 is 4. And then right at the end, I do my addition. Right, you don't get homework, for those of you asking. It's very rare we ever ask you to do anything outside of class. There's D again, in case you needed to screenshot.